Good evening and welcome to this edition of the Island Stats Football Show. I'm your host, Earl Baston. Joining me is co-host Garrett Punchy Dill as well as Maceo Dill. We are waiting for Coach Nikita Robinson to join us. But gentlemen, let me just run down the scores from this past week as we saw in the Premier Division with Robin Hood 1, Hamilton Parish 2, Somerset Trojans 3, Boulevard Blazers 2, Dennytown Hornets 0, PHC Zebras 3, Crossroads 1, St. George's Colts 3, Devonshire Cougars 2, North Village Rams 2. In the first division, it was BAA 2, Paget Lions 1, Young Men Social Club 0, Devonshire Colts 1, Wolves 2, Somerset Eagles 0, St. David's 0, Southampton Rangers 4. So let's start with that first match. It was on, I believe, Thursday night. Robin Hood, we all know what the troubles they're going through, and Hamilton Parish. For Robin Hood, they did have players on the bench. The only thing that's left to, I guess, be decided who's actually coaching Robin Hood now that Dante Leverock has left the club. So that's got to be a concern for them. And who are they using as I guess, a mentor for whomever is taking up the role as a coach?
Yeah, for me, this is where I think we have to get a little bit more intimate with football to promote it, right? And you have press releases when these type of things change. It's like it should be a mandatory thing from the BFA standard. I know the BFA put in what they're calling a media policy. I'm not sure of all the details of that media policy, but in that media policy, it should be, and as we look at good governance and stuff like that, we should be very transparent that the football public knows exactly what's going on and all the details of what's going on. And just like in other jurisdictions, we want to promote our sports and understand our sports. We shouldn't have to play a guessing game at these things, and it should be, press releases just to promote the sport, right?
Mm-hmm. And Punchy with Hamilton Parish, much needed win for them. I mean, was probably the best time to play Robin Hood.
Yeah, that's a very good. Hamilton Parish really needed those 3 points, which we all thought that they would. Even if Robin Hood showed up with 11 men. With Parish again, you know for a fact that they're going to win. There's certain games they are going to win. I'm expecting them already. They should be beating teams like Robin Hood. The difficult games are the ones that I'm concerned with. When they come up against the Dennytowns or the PHCs or the North Village, what happens? And St. George's also. But again, that's still, for Sergio and Hamilton Parish, that's a welcome relief. Even if the score was 2-1, but those 3 points mean a lot.
Mm-hmm. Well, actually, it put them on 9 points. Going into the weekend. With still yet to be determined the result of the Boulevard Robin Hood match officially by the Bermuda Football Association. Mm-hmm. They have a 5-point lead on Boulevard, who are third from the bottom. Crossroads at 3 points, and of course Robin Hood have no points. So looking at it, Maceo, from a standpoint of a team like Hamilton Parish, and looking at Robin Hood as well, what is needed for both teams to change their season around and pick up some vital points prior to the Christmas break?
Well, for Parish, it comes back to the coaching staff to motivate the players and maybe, implement a new way of playing just to get games across the line and start picking up points against the sort of more organized teams. I think knowing Parish and knowing Sergio, he likes the style of football that I like as well. It's the style of football, but that style of football, you have to earn the right to be able to play it. And if I cross-reference Parish with North Village, because we say that Parish has outplayed a few teams, but not won games, right? We see that. If I cross-reference with North Village is really not outplaying teams. They're tactically outwitting teams. Whereas teams can score on them and they're getting opportunities to score on the other hands. So for Parish, they need to become difficult to beat. And what difficult to beat looks like for them, that's for the coaching staff to decide based on the personnel that they have and their philosophy of it. But they need to become difficult to beat. Robin Hood, I don't have an answer for Robin Hood. I really don't have an answer for Robin Hood in this. I really don't.
I had a suggestion from a person on the street. Here's
Mm-hmm.
an opportunity for Maceo to try and go and help Robin Hood.
Yeah, I'm not stupid though. You're not just gonna send me to the wolves with all those tools. I'm not a magician. I can't work magic tricks, right? So yeah, that's I had a lick down on Facebook this weekend. I had the fans and the give me a good beat down on Facebook about me helping out, and this is the way I help out. I'm a pundit now. I'm a pundit now, and this is the way I help out.
And well, you know what I'd like to say is that didn't we see this coming? Did we
Yeah,
see
we
this
did.
coming from Nasher?
Yeah, we
Yeah.
saw it.
Once we saw those departures,
Yes.
we knew it was going to be a struggle for them. I
Yeah.
guess they were the only ones who thought they could navigate it, and right now they're still got their head just above the water. But again, they're a handful of injuries away from it all coming right back.
Yeah, and they said I think earlier in this season they said that once the youngsters we got 9 returning players that will be here for the Christmas holidays. But I don't know how many games they're gonna be able to play.
What happens January then when they all
Yeah,
go back?
then they all go back. Yeah, and you also talking about who's coaching who's taking over now. I would have thought that just talks again getting back to organization at the club and if this person doesn't steps down or this happens, what is next? And I don't think they had a plan. I don't think they had discussed it. Dante was going to say, "Okay, I'm finished," and who else was going to be in charge? Is it Timmy Figueroa? Is he coaching? Because I think he does. I think he does. I've
He's
seen him take
playing
sessions.
Gill. He's playing
Yeah,
Gill.
and I thought he was taking sessions also.
Yeah, there has to be some systemic problems there. I mean, because you could go back to John Barry stepping down. I mean, that was the beginning of the end, right? That was the beginning of the end. John Barry leaving, Antoine Russell leaving, and there is always rumors as to what is their motivation being there. Is it financial? Why their motivation is being there? And if it's not financial remuneration that's happening for these guys, they're not going to participate and give their heart to that club, right? It's not an established club, and it doesn't have a youth program that builds into the senior program that's established. It's in two pieces right there. So I don't know that historically in Bermuda those type of programs don't really last. Like we can go back to Conquering Lions. Remember we used to have Conquering Lions in Bermuda.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Those things don't last historically in Bermuda.
Sure. Well, then on Saturday afternoon up at the Somerset Cricket Club, well, from Robin Hood, we may go down, but that they want to finish the season. So all the best to you. I mean,
Yeah,
you have a lot of people rooting for you to finish the season because nobody wants to see a team drop out of the league during the season. So we want to wish you all the best for that. Yeah, up at Somerset on Saturday, Boulevard went down 3-2 to the Somerset Trojans. There was 2 goals scored in injury time. Boulevard thought they had snatched a point with a goal 5 minutes into injury time, but a minute later, Somerset snatched the winner, much needed winner. Both teams basically battled each other, to try and gain some advantage in this game from the outset. But decision making let both teams down early, especially in the first half. Final third decisions kind of hurt both teams along the way. But knowing Somerset coming off of that cup win, then a loss, now getting things back together, I know the coach set the players down and reiterated what the message was to get back on track, and they responded with a 3-2 win. So Punchy, let's talk a little bit about the Somerset part, and Maceo, I'll talk to you about Boulevard part. on this aspect. So, Punchy, on the Somerset part, it
I
it
just
had
think
to
that.
be one of those things to get back on track.
Yeah, especially after the loss. I mean, they come out from winning the cup. They beat Cougars, and I thought the intensity, everything they did was really a team effort. You could see that they were up for that game.
Mhm.
Mike, I think we discussed this on the show also. What would happen in the next once the league starts again? And the next game they lost at home to, I believe, to Denny Town.
Mhm.
Right. So I still think that Scott's in a rebuilding process. My problem, not my problem, but what I see with Somerset is that, like, okay, they picked. I thought, in looking at what I wrote down, it said Somerset to win.
Yeah.
And I thought, yeah, that's what I think we all picked that. So that's a good 3 points for Scott
Mhm.
Morton.
Yeah.
Those teams, I do believe that Somerset will beat Boulevard. I do believe that. Again, it's going to take some time. As long as Scott Morton's just keeps the shit, keeps everybody calm, and I bet you any money he's not. Everything else is a bonus, but everything else is a bonus, like cup game they beat Cougars. But I am very sure he's just saying what we want to do is just survive.
Mhm.
We want to survive, and anything, even if we get into fourth place, that's what I'm sure that Scott Morton is looking at for Somerset.
Sure. Well, they're on 9 points as well with Hamilton Parish. So, Maceo, again, we talk a lot about Boulevard and the challenges they have in preparing themselves for games. What I saw that first half was Jamal on the sideline, almost coaching in a training session method the game. I guess because he doesn't have that opportunity midweek to do so. It's got to be a growing concern because players are trying to listen to what he's trying to tell them to do and still try to get through a game kind of thing. And at times, some players just don't operate like that.
No players don't operate with somebody in their ear all the time. And the conversation we had about Boulevard is their preparation, and what conversation we had about Joma is his preparation, his organization, where his weak at, his ability, where his strong at is his ability to manipulate the game while it's going on. That came out because they're down two. You manipulate the game and you get back into at 2-0, and then this organization shows up again where you lose the game 3-2 in the last 9 minutes of the game. So all those things that were talked about is now manifesting itself, and the writing is right there. If he's not able to learn how to prepare or even have the opportunity to prepare, I feel sorry for the players and the coach, because if you're not got the opportunity to prepare properly and you're manipulating on game day, and then we all know what's happening in training is not happening to the standard that is happening. And I'll like to cross reference Joe Ma and Scott Morton. So if you look at, I know Scott Morton, he's going to organize properly. He's going to organize properly. He's going to organize for training properly, and then it's going to start a plan out in a game where he just has to. He doesn't have to do what Jamal does in commentating the game. Jamal, what I find Jamal does, he commentates the game. Go here, go there. Here, drop her, drop her. It's not even coaching. It's commentating. Coaching is when you're just tweaking certain things at certain times to give people information, and you're not gonna have a headache by commentating the game the whole 90 minutes, right? And Scott, if you see Scott, he does bring organization, and the players they're starting to exceed our expectation in getting games across the line. He brings a bit of discipline, even though he would have went down to, he would have, the players would have been felt disappointed that they came back in the game. They still had the discipline to go again and get the game across the line. And if Scott sees out the 3-year contract that has got up Somerset, my bet is that within those 3 years, Somerset will win the league.
All right. Well, we're going to take our first commercial break, and when we come back, we'll talk the Nightcap, PHC, and Dandy Town. We'll be right back.
Welcome to the new bulk store, Lindo's Next Level. Wake up in the morning with enough coffee to keep you running throughout the entire day. Your pet at home deserves the best. Stock up on dog food to keep your puppy happy. Need a quick, tasty lunch at home? Your chicken nuggets will be jumping right out of the freezer. What's a movie night without popcorn? You can never have too much. Lindo's Next Level. Why go anyplace else?
I'm also thankful and grateful because my greatest value of my life is my legacy.
But why I do it? I feel supposed to do it. I was put here to be here, to do what I'm doing right now. Once I see somebody moving, it's the greatest joy for me. There's a little person being born.
I am thankful that people have given me the trust, for me to empower them, from my players to my family to friends. And that's what I'm thankful for. I'm thankful that people have allowed me and trusted me to be in their life.
Welcome back. Well, the Saturday night match featured the Dendytown Hornets under new coaching and PHC. PHC were obviously looking to get themselves, continue their winning streak, having beaten St. George's the week before in St. George's, and now they're on the road again. They're at BAA playing Dendytown. Dendytown would be looking to pick up more points after that 4-3 win over Somerset, but clearly, PHC had their number on the night. Maceo, looking at a PHC team, back-to-back wins, big wins too, over two teams. What would you say about this part of their season and how dominant they were on Saturday night?
Well, they quietly start to make statements, right? I've given them some criticism, especially last year with what they have, and even this year, I didn't think they were going to be contenders because of their sort of slow start to the season. But the quietly start to make certain statements and get certain games across the line, and definitely beating Dennytown 3-0, is a statement game. And we talked about it last week a bit on Dennytown. Although they got the game across the line the week before, that they're still very wounded. They're still very wounded, and it's going to show up against certain teams that wound that's there. And PHC is a team that's able to take advantage of that wounded Dennytown, and they're starting to find their rhythm. PHC's test is going to come when they have to play a North Village, have to play a team that's also contending. That's when that test is going to come for them.
Yeah, because remember, they lost to North Village the first game of the season in the league. Yeah,
exactly. And that's when they made a little slow start, because I thought they was gonna, at that point in time, what they hit, I thought they was gonna be able to roll over North Village. Yeah.
Well, Punchy, look at you heard Maceo talk about a wounded Dendytown team. They have Aaron Jenkins back at the helm. He's demanding a little more from the players, but that I would say the rot that had set in amongst the players, amongst the staff, coaching staff, amongst everything, that's just, you can't just snap your finger and it goes away. Yes, they got to win over Somerset, but reality set in. They don't have. They had Sion Darrow back in goal. Due to the fact that their goalkeeper's injured and the other one's away. But when you have a dedicated player trying to do his best to help out, but you've got a hot team you're playing against, it kind of backfires on you most 9 times out of 10.
Yeah, there's 2 ways to answer that question. First of all, let's talk about Dennytown. I think I'll go back to what Maceo was saying about what happens with the mentality in Bermuda. Even though they won the game against Somerset, they still conceded 3 goals.
Mm-hmm.
They still conceded 3 goals. So something's still not right. Yeah, I was very surprised because I wanted to go to the game, but I wasn't feeling well, so I said, okay. I was saying, well, I'm sure there's going to be a 2-1, in favor of Dennytown. But when they say 3-0. So it goes back to what we were talking about, again, go back to what Maceo said earlier in the season, that once I wouldn't use the word what, but once they once they start feeling like they're not, are they motivated? Are they motivated to come back and become champions again? They're still same players. What has happened there would be for me. I've only seen them play once this year against Village. So there is a problem that exists there. Now Dante is supposed to go back and helping out. Am I correct? Dante Leverett,
Yeah.
which was in the papers. Yeah, he's supposed to go back and help out. That doesn't. Maybe he would help stabilize it. Maybe he will kind of get to the root of the problem. What's happening there? Will they still be challenging for cups? I sure do think so. The league is somewhere out of their hands now. I think so.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. One of the things they're gonna have to figure out is the length of the injury to Daniel Johnson. They will have Jaden Manders back for a period of time. But like the past years, and I'll use North Village, when North Village had an outfield player playing in goal because they didn't have a recognized goalkeeper. Against teams that are running hot, they're going to struggle because that person might be able to do some miracle things throughout the game, but it's the finer points of goalkeeping that always let a team like North Village down. And I think that's where Dandytown's going to struggle if they cannot get Daniel Johnson back once Jaden goes back to school.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good point. I mean, we saw it last year. And last year, so Freddie Hole being in goal for St. George's, and they organized. We see this year Deidre Bow being in goal for North Village. What that means, so that having a decent goalkeeper means a lot, and it's a bigger problem now, right? Because we're now seeing, even with the current league champions, they don't have a roster to get through a season. Like, that's a big problem. That's the bigger problem. We can talk about Robin Hood and their roster. We can talk about Island Rangers in our roster, but we have to recognize that it's a big problem when the league champions don't have a roster. And they've got to put an outfield player in goal. That's alarm bells. That's alarm bells for football.
Yeah, sure. Very, very, very true too. Because I heard, but the center back playing the goal.
Yeah,
and he's only 5'4", isn't he?
Yeah, it's not even
only 5'4". But then again, we're talking about it's only 5'4". We're talking about what's going on there? So that is a cause for concern. That was a cause for concern when I heard that also. They didn't have a second or a third string goalkeeper.
Yeah.
If you're trying to come out of a slump, you're going to start putting things right, and that was not right. So why don't they have a second or third string goalkeeper?
Right.
So there's a cause for concerns there, and in terms of it's one of the most recognized club like them having to struggle for another goalkeeper.
Well, hopefully that gets rectified, and again, because they'll have Jaden back for a bit, but once he goes back to school, they're going to need a recognized goalkeeper if they want to make a run for any of the cups, and for anywhere a good placement in the league as well. Not saying that Sion won't do his best, because I'm pretty sure he's a Dandytown through and through. He's going to do his best for the club, but the concern would be having a regular goalkeeper in goal that people have 200% confidence in, and when things happen, the goalkeeper is there to help mop it up. So, yesterday at Lord's in St. David's, St. George's Colts defeated Crossroads 3-1. Was a game that all of us decided that St. George's should win, and they did win. I guess for some people, it was a surprise to see that Grande Baskin turned out for St. George's Colts, scoring on his debut. There has been a lot of talk about him actually going St. George's, and there was talk that he wasn't going to go St. George's and he was going to actually turn out for Devonshire Cougars. But in the end, St. George's won him out, and he's now added to St. George's team. So having someone like Druande in the lineup now, what does that do for St. George's, Maceo?
Well, St. George's management, you have to give kudos to the management of St. George's in the scouting and recruiting. They have every tool. Those coaches down there have every tool available to them now. From a goalkeeper, because we could talk about the goalkeeper at one point in time, he was heading to Paris, right?
Mm-hmm.
And there had conversations. Obviously, there have been conversations with players to get players into St. George's. So they're recruiting at that level. You know, you have to give respect to the recruiting process. So now our conversation is about, do they have the coaching staff? Do they have the tactical awareness? Do they have the strategy to now be a dominant force at football? Because they have tools. Every tool they have the best players there. They have experience. They have a profession. They have a professional that's came back. They have youth that are hungry. You know, they have experience in the brother, what is his name? How I forgot his name? Down the back, Signor.
Signal, Ernest
You know,
David.
they have die-hard St. George's people, and now you added Durande Bascom. Now you added Durande Bascom. They've got a coaching staff of 3 down there. There is no excuse now for that coaching staff not to perform, or those players not to perform. There's no excuse now. So that's the conversation that we now should be having with St. George's, and there should be an expectation that St. George's do well and be a force to reckon with. Now, they struggled to get the game across the line, you know, against Crossroads. You know, they got it. They was always going to get across the line. Crossroads missed 2 glaring chances, and St. George's struggled a bit. But again, they got across the line, and with a Durande Bascom in your team, he's going to pick the moments to get across the line. So that's a very, very good addition to him. Now the expectation and the pressure should be on, you know, the coaching staff at St. George's to perform.
Sure.
Yeah, and the players to perform.
Yeah, and Punchy, looking at Ralph Bean Jr.'s problems at Crossroads, confidence has to be low, morale has to be low, because they're trying, but it's just not working out for them. What do you think Ralph needs to look to do? Because again, just like you said about Dennytown leaking girls, Crossroads keep leaking girls, and they need to figure out how to plug that hole.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm gonna go back to what Maceo said earlier. You know, one team, I spoke with Ralph too. I didn't mention. I said, you know, Ralph, you gotta make sure your team is hard to beat. You know, you're just leaking too many goals. There's nothing. You don't have to do nothing fast. You just make teams hard to beat you. Play a counter-attacking game, because you don't have a whole lot of finesse in that team. You know, you open up too early. They play too much open football, and so you know, just like what we wrote down last week. Like, yeah, well, we were expecting St. George's to beat them, but I was told, I didn't go to the game. I was told that they really did for the first half. They put on a good showing. They put on a good showing. So, like Gumbo with Crossroads, he's gonna have to do some recruitment next year. And hopefully they stay up. But he'll definitely have to recruit, you know, go out and find some players that he can, you know, say, listen, man, I need a little bit more standard. I need a little more quality. And that's what I think Crossroads will need to do.
Yeah.
If they survive.
Right. You made a valid point, because even in that game against North Village, the scoreline was a big one. But at times they played well, but they opened up way too early. They were trying to knock the ball around in their half. They were getting dispossessed so many times, but guys were just breaking off the minute they won the ball, instead of, you know, holding for a little bit. Let's see what happens here, and it just backfired on them. So I think patience is one of the things that he's going to have to work with them, you know, between now and Christmas, and then after the Christmas break, let's see what they can work out. But he's got to figure out, even if he has to drop another person in that defense to shore it up, and sacrifice just leaving Donovan and even Shea Bangman up front, leave those 2 up front, and you know, just try to do something different to try to plug up, give them all these deals.
Today I watched the Brazil game against Switzerland. It was 1-0, right?
Mm-hmm.
Switzerland was just hard to beat.
Right.
Brazil's got a whole team of stars.
Yeah.
And Brazil had to wait to 78 minutes.
82nd minute, yeah, something like that.
To get a goal, and it was a wonder goal at that.
Mm-hmm.
It was a wonder goal. You just there's no shame in it.
Yeah, yeah.
There's no shame.
But if you look at it, everybody put their head down and raced back to get behind the ball the minute they lost it.
Yeah.
You know? They made that commitment to it. But
I know the landscape of football in Bermuda. We have this belief that we can play this expensive football, and why not develop people that are capable of doing that?
Yeah, yeah.
I saw them. Yeah. You know, I'm sorry, you guys. I just saw I think I said in the beginning of the season when I saw X-Roads, Crossroads play against Norfolk up the Northfield was a practice match, and they were quite dominant. They were quite organized. The players worked hard. They got behind the ball. They, you know, I could see. I said to Ralph, I see you've got what you're trying to do here. I said it works. You know, you look like you guys are hard to beat. They were positive in that manner in terms of what they were doing that day. But I don't see these. They're not having the same results. You know, you just again in this country, flamboyancy. Everybody wants to be this. What is it that we don't understand? If you're not got those type of players, be hard to beat or make them physical. Run everybody else off their feet. Come up with something. And I think Gumbo's gonna have to decide about that. And I think not only him. There's a few other teams that we'll talk about, but Crossroads, you know, he has to decide that, hey, this is we just need to be a good, solid team and be hard to beat. Again, repeating it.
Sure. But we're going to take another commercial break. When we come back, we'll talk the nightcap in the Premier Division yesterday between Devonshire Cougars and the North Village Rams. We'll be right back.
I'm also thankful and grateful because my greatest value of my life is my legacy.
But why I do it? I feel supposed to do it. I was put here to be here, to do what I'm doing right now. Once I see somebody moving, it's the greatest joy for me. There's a little person being born.
I am thankful that people have given me the trust, you know, for me to empower them, from my players to my family to friends, and that's what I'm thankful for. I'm thankful that people have allowed me and trusted me to be in their life.
Putting down the weapons.
You seeing this?
Welcome to the new bulk store, Lindo's Next Level. Wake up in the morning with enough coffee to keep you running throughout the entire day. Your pet at home deserves the best. Stock up on dog food to keep your puppy happy. Need a quick, tasty lunch at home? Your chicken nuggets will be jumping right out of the freezer. What's a movie night without popcorn? You can never have too much. Lindo's Next Level. Why go anyplace else?
And welcome back. Well, top of the table clash going into the nightcap, where at the beginning of the week, North Village Rams, the league leaders, took on second place Devonshire Cougars. The match ended in a 2-2 draw. You know, North Village played quite a bit of time with 10 men, but they were able and disciplined enough to stick to the plan and come away with a 2-2 draw. Maceo, let's look at Devonshire Cougars for you. You know, a team who in the league have been difficult at times, but their inconsistency during the game has hurt them because they'll dominate for a period and then all of a sudden it's like the entire team have a mental lapse and they just go away from whatever the coach has been telling them to do, and then they come back into it, sort of thing.
Yeah, I'm more defensive. I'm more defensive about where they're gonna go and they're gonna be contenders. I mean, I'm definitely when it comes to North Village, I'm no longer on defense. North Village have to be considered a contender for the title as to being hard to beat and them get games crossed the line. I kind of felt this one was gonna be a draw because I didn't feel that Cougars were gonna have enough in legs and energy to be able to get across North Village that are defended well. You know, I looked at it being a 0-0 draw, really, but it ended up being a 2-2 draw, but I would feel that Cougars just don't have the legs, while they're a dangerous team at times and they're an experienced team at times. Whenever been presented with this type of challenge, they're not really got this type of challenge across the line. They're not been able to win these type of challenges. Their moment, we know Cougars are historically a momentum team, but they can't sustain that momentum. Some of the players are aging, and they can't really sustain that momentum. Yeah.
Yeah, and Punchy, looking at North Village, going down a man, but able to hang on for a draw, and in one point take a lead. Your thoughts on just how North Village have set themselves up? How Kenny has set this team up this season?
Yeah, I was very, very impressed of what happened after for Jaden Harvey was sent off. They remained compact. They allowed Cougars to play wide, and then there was some good counter-attacking football that they did. They didn't play too much through the middle. There was a couple of passes, and the ball would come over the top. But I'm just impressed. You could see harmony within the team too. Even you saw encouragement, and there's not a whole lot of bashing at one another. Whatever goes wrong, they just stuck to their task. But the way the team was set up, and many times they exposed Cougars with 10 men. Yeah, they exposed Cougars with 10 men. My only thing is that in the second minute of the game, we should have been. North Village should have been. I said we. Sorry about that. But Giselle Smith put right through. Yeah, Giselle put right through. I thought it's simple goal. And then there was another young man. It's a tall one. I forgot his name. But anyway, we should in the first 10 or 10 minutes we should have been 2-0 up. That decision by Jalen, I guess it happens. I thought maybe he should have just left and stay on with 11 man and just let it go to goal. But of course that's the reaction. But again, getting back to Norfolk is what I see. I see them very organized. You see the cutting down on individual mistakes. That's what I also noticed. You watch the playing a little bit, whatever's happening to Jelly, and he's a very important part of this. What's going on here? They're getting to him and saying, "Listen, just play the game more simpler. There's much learn from." Do the right things over and over in the right areas. Defensively, they're doing okay also defensively. And what add to that, again, going back to what Macy was saying about having a very good goalkeeper, Detroit. Very good. There's sometimes that some saves he made the other night that were very good, world class. So again, very impressive. I think Norfolk it's from what is happening. And remember, these guys are playing last year together also. So you could see the strength of the organization. You could see what they're trying to accomplish. You could see it. And I was very impressed on with the draw against Cougars.
Sure. Let's turn our attention to the first division because it was a surprise. Surprise for us, but some at BA will probably say no, it wasn't a surprise for them. BAA defeated Paget Lions 2-1. Paget coming to the game undefeated, have an undefeated season. They did have a draw, but an undefeated season, and with so many weapons up against a very young team who we all talked about that intimidation factor that that some of the experienced guys from Paget would have on those BAA players. But talking to a few of the Paget players after the game, they commended those young BAA players because they stayed disciplined. They stayed the very skillful, technically sound, and they had to commend them because they did not back down from a challenge from a Paget Lions team. So Maceo, let's talk a little bit about Paget Lions. I mean, what happens now?
I mean, it's funny. I have to applaud the show and the job that we're doing on the show because we're creating a buzz. I mean, I took a whole slamming on Facebook about my comment about Paget being like Hamilton Parish next season and what they're going to do, how they're going to organize, and to be fair to Paget, I mean, I was thinking they're not going to lose because of the player side they have, but this is again gets back to coaching and organization. It's not, and everybody thinks, and we still have a country that thinks that it's just putting good players on the field and letting them play. We still have a country that has a mentality that thinks that they don't know how difficult that is. I still hear, and just for the public, my mate Fox down in St. George's, Cameron Fox, is like, his question is, what have I made sure done is never coached at the senior level. Actually, I have coached at the senior level. I coached at the senior level with North Village, and we were Triple Crown champions. Streaker and I coached at that level. Just for Fox's information, I do have a little bit of experience coaching at this level and winning at this level. But it's not just as easy to put good players on the field. And Coach Andrew would have been up for this one. He would have like, okay, you guys adult me. Okay, yeah, you think we can't get across the line? This one would have motivated him. It would have motivated him to put together a tactical plan, an organizational plan to stifle whatever Paget can do and enforce his way of doing it. And Paget they didn't have an answer for it. They didn't have an answer for it for the younger players. And yes, the young players are technically sound. They make really good team decisions and they play as a team. Paget is still playing as individuals, right? You got 11 good individuals playing there. That's not going to be good enough going forward in next season. It's not going to be good enough.
Yeah, and Punchy, for a young BAA team, confidence must be through the roof now because they would have gone into this game with some doubt, but some belief, and they actually came out on top.
Yeah. Well, we all put it on that maybe Paget's gonna get over the line with this one with their experience. But what we forgot is about the fact that even when I go down and watch Andrew's sessions, so I do go watch them. I'll stop I'll go watch BA train and watch his sessions. They're very organized. What he's trying to do there with the young players also. Yeah, young players, and they, you see some stuff that like when they're playing, I'm like, whoa, these, they know exactly. They've been coached well. They're being real coached well. They've been drilled really well. What do they do when they lose the ball? What do they do when they play left to right? The overlapping runs, and you see, I'm like, whoa, this is good coaching. They're young, of course. They're young.
I think it's also important to note that we know Andrew's journey in football, creating his own program, and now taking over the BA program and the youth program and the foundational youth program that he built. So this is a 10-year, 15-year process to get to where he's got a team that can play at this level. These players have got somewhere to play, and they have the culture of the program that he built. It's a long-term program that's seen now running a BA program. So it's not a short-term. And if he wanted to, I guess he could do recruiting. He could try to recruit his son, that has experience to come over there and help out. He could do recruiting, Ray Cross Bermuda, but his recruitment comes on out of his youth program, and his lost a top goalkeeper that's going away, which was
Peter Sylvester,
but also the goalkeeper coach,
Cooper, Deshaun Cooper.
So he lost two goalkeepers. So all the things that we say are other people's problems, is the situation there. You have kids that go away, but you now bring in young players that have been developed that's capable of beating the pageant. Now, are they capable of being in the Premier Division right now? Maybe not at this time, but maybe at the end of the season or maybe next season, maybe they're capable of being there. Yeah.
I think I think there's a classic case of what we've spoken about again on this show about coaching. Antoine, was this supposed to be an immediate success because the people that he's got there? Is he too friendly? What is he getting the best out of, what he has? Look at the team. What is it that this is Antoine's first year, so it's going to take time. Definitely. When you come up against Andrew Bascom, you better know what you're doing, even with the quality that you have, because he's not going to back down. He's always prepared. So, that's a very good thing in terms of what we're talking about here in terms of coaching, organization, and it goes back to what going back even though it was about the St. George's. What do you work with? What you have. That's what Antoine Russell will have to deal with. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we're going to take another commercial break. When we come back, we're going to talk Social Club and Devonshire Colts and the other two First Division matches. We'll be right back.
Welcome to the new bulk store, Lindo's Next Level. Wake up in the morning with enough coffee to keep you running throughout the entire day. Your pet at home deserves the best. Stock up on dog food to keep your puppy happy. Need a quick, tasty lunch at home? Your chicken nuggets will be jumping right out of the freezer. What's a movie night without popcorn? You can never have too much. Lindo's Next Level. Why go anyplace else?
I'm also thankful and grateful because my greatest value of my life is my legacy.
But why I do it? I feel supposed to do it. I was put here to be here, to do what I'm doing right now. Once I see somebody moving, it's the greatest joy for me. There's a little person being born.
I am thankful that people have given me the trust, for me to empower them, from my players to my family to friends. And that's what I'm thankful for. I'm thankful that people have allowed me and trusted me to be in their life.
Putting down the weapons.
You seeing this?
And welcome back. Well, at the police field yesterday, it was Devonshire Colts getting by Young Men's Social Club 1-0. Social Club would be kicking themselves for squandering several chances, and so would Devonshire Colts for that matter. But in the end, it was that one goal. Devonshire Colts stayed organized despite everything Social Club threw at them. But again, with someone like Ray coaching this team, who has had for quite some time, they believe in the system that they're playing in, and they just stayed disciplined in that fact. Looking at Social Club, Maceo, they ran into the weekend as the league leaders, but things have not gone their way of late.
Yeah, somehow Social Club just don't. I think they're an institutionalized second division team, whereas that's where the comfort level. Each time you think they can do something that pushes them out of there, they don't do what's required of them to push them out of that. So they're like a very institutionalized team. They like it there. You know, it's almost like somebody been in jail for 20 years. They don't like they like jail better. You know, than the freedom.
I would say they are missing their
Yeah,
influential player, Ryan Parrish. He didn't play yesterday. I don't
yeah,
know if he's injured or just off the island, but when he's not in the team, they tend to become
yeah.
very disorganized fast.
Very fast if he's definitely not in the team. So if he doesn't play, you know, they don't stand a chance. So it even, but that goes to the other conversation that we're having, having only relying on that one situation and that one person to be able to get you across the line. And if they and that person's not there, you're in trouble. What does that mean for that club to go up to another division? You know,
Mm, yeah,
so
yeah.
they're disappointed me. I mean, I thought they was gonna, you know, get these matches across the line. And Colts is comfortable here as well. Colts is the dominant club at this level.
Mm,
You know, they're always got to be considered at this level.
right. And punching for Devonshire Colts, getting the job done, just another 3 points for them. I mean, and they're quietly moving up the standings.
Yeah, Ray Jones must be listening to the show quite a bit, or maybe he's not paying the mind because I did speak about that. His task. Should he be moving on? Yeah, they're going about the job quietly, and I thought that 1-0 save makes a statement, makes a real good statement. Is it going to turn around? Because when you look at Devonshire Colts, look at this league altogether. Who are you expecting Devonshire Colts not to beat? And I'm like, wow, they should be beaten just about, because it's a name club, of course. Who are you expecting to beat? They should be beating just about everybody, with the exception of BA. That's going to be a question there. And Wolves. I think Wolves is going to give them Wolves going to give them a hard time. So Ray Jones is going to set about, is probably setting about it in his way of how, step by step. And I still think this Devonshire Colts it's not such a good team. They're in a rebuilding stage, and they keep going through that because they have players that go overseas also. But they're in a rebuilding stage. I still, will they win the league? I think they can, or will they come second? That's going to be a question for me. And what happens? I think let's not take for granted that when the FA Cup comes, the FA Cup ties come, who Devonshire Colts will be pitted against. That's when we'll see what they are really about. Because nobody's really paying them that much money. Not really. Right. No.
I'm glad you mentioned Wolves because Wolves defeated Somerset Eagles 2-0 at Wellington Oval. They took on a team that's been leaking goals. If you look at Somerset Eagles, they've played a total of 7 matches and given up 29 goals and they scored 6. But Wolves have been free scoring of late. They scored 16, gave up 6, but they're now the league leaders following this result. For Somerset Eagles, Maceo, what do they have to do to kind of stop the flow of goals going in?
It's the same thing. It's cultural, right? In Bermuda, we think we can play expansive football. You set your team up to be hard to beat. You set your team up to be hard to beat. That's it. You kept yourself out on the 18-yard box. That's what you do.
Yeah. And Punchy, you talked early in the season about a Wolves outfit and how you felt disorganized at times, but they got a lot of skillful players. They're right now on top of the first division. What do you think about that?
Well, whenever I go to the shop and I see these Wolves guys in this area here, they always just, you guys pointing the finger and beat us. I say, well, no, we'll just ask you guys a question. I think, again, with Troy, what's his name? Troy, the one Maceo speaks about, the one that's been Troy Tucker?
Troy Tucker.
Yeah. His inclusion. I don't know if he played on the.
He didn't play yesterday.
He didn't play yesterday. But just being around the team, he's got a real good, he's got a nice attitude too. So, they listen to our show, they're saying, yeah, well, whatever we've been lacking, we're going to make sure that the harmony is there. We're going to work hard. I'm going to prove you guys wrong. Well, I said, well, yes, prove us wrong. let's see what you're really about, rules, and let's see. But
like
again, they do have talent. If you know, we all agree with this, that they have talent, right? I would expect them to win the league. I would expect them to win this league between them and Denver. I expect that. Yeah.
I like to see Wolves get promoted and Ralphie and Julian Barry go down there and coach together.
Very good point, Maceo. That's, but would they be? No, that's that. I'm thought about this also. I made note about this. Would they, if they don't, even if they get promoted, the right person's got to be in charge of their talent. Or I'm not saying that Sergio's not doing a good job. I'm not saying that there, but the right person needs to go on and nurture them and build on what they have. And I think that would be a good combination with, if you know, that with Gumbo and Jordan Barry, of course.
Interesting conversation.
Yeah, we gotta spark it up. Put things out there to give this, you know, give the league a little bit of little spice, you know.
Sure. The final first division match: St. David's 0, Southampton Rangers 4. Southampton Rangers quietly going about business in this first division, scoring goals. They have 10 points. They picked up 3 wins. They do have 2 losses, but when they do win, they tend to score a bunch of goals. Last week, they beat Somerset Eagles 7-4. This week, they pick up a 4-0 win over St. David. So, I mean, quietly, they're doing the business, but do they have enough to really make a run in the league? Maceo?
I don't think they have a run. I mean, kudos because they surprised me. Last season I thought that was the end of football for them, right? What was happening last season, trying to put together a team. They seem more another institutionalized team club at this level. They seem more inspired to play at this level, you know. But I don't think at the end of the day they're gonna have what it takes to have the legs to put together a run to challenge. That's my view of it, especially with Wolves doing what they're doing and Derbyshire Colts always got to be considered, right? Those are the 2 that I'm thinking that were challenged. You know, Southampton Rangers is too iffy at times.
You're gonna be attacked again because you're leaving Paget out.
I actually forgot. In that, I would say I actually forgot about Paget. I forgot about Paget. Those three clubs are good. Rangers is not going to be in that conversation.
Okay. All right.
Definitely Paget is going to be.
You just redeemed yourself. You just redeemed yourself.
Yeah, thank you for that, Earl. You saved me. You saved me this week. Yeah.
Punchy St. David's.
Paget's not a club that easily comes to mind yet. They're not a football club yet.
You're digging your heel again. You're digging your heel again.
Comes to mind.
Punchy St. David's, a team that, again, they have a young group of players. You know, still learning from the coaching staff. How do those coaches make sure that the players stay motivated? Because as we know, when you're losing, you know, 9 times out of 10, I could find something else to do.
Yeah. That's. I think we spoke about this also. What's happening? What that club was about. From when I was down there, when Andrew went, Sergio went. What have they done since? Who have they recruited? Do they have an under 13 strong program? What is it that St. David's want to achieve? I think they just want to be in the league. Give these guys a good Sunday afternoon kick. The coaches got, and you know, the coaches down there got B&C licenses. I'm very sure of that.
Yeah.
But I don't think they want to, they're not forging ahead in terms of what they want to do, and you know, to take the next step. And they haven't done that for years. Earl, which is really, you know, I wanted to put my stamp on it when I left. You know, and I thought, well, this is the direction that you've got to go in if you're going to start on this club to be twofold, a good cricket club and a good football club.
Mm-hmm.
But they seem to be, you know, after I left and Andrew and then Sergio and then they seem to still be just deciding that they just want to have a team in the league.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what it is. Just make the community happy. Now, on any given day down there, when it's a big FA game and St. Davis is playing in the first game, you could bet they're gonna be all out in full force.
Mm-hmm.
They'll play the hard. So let's say it's a St. Davis, it's a double header down there, and St. Davis is matched up against maybe Robin Hood. Oh, you're gonna see a game. But after that, Then after that third, that's it. That's it. That's it for them. I'm not being cruel on them, but it's just the way it is. And at least we're speaking about this. What do they want to achieve? What is it that they really want to do there?
Sure. Well, we're going to take our final commercial break, and when we come back, we're going to talk our picks and player of the week. We'll be right back.
Putting down the weapons.
You seeing this?
Welcome to the new bulk store, Lindo's Next Level. Wake up in the morning with enough coffee to keep you running throughout the entire day. Your pet at home deserves the best. Stock up on dog food to keep your puppy happy. Need a quick, tasty lunch at home? Your chicken nuggets will be jumping right out of the freezer. What's a movie night without popcorn? You can never have too much. Lindo's Next Level. Why go anyplace else?
I'm also thankful and grateful because my greatest value of my life is my legacy.
But why I do it? I feel supposed to do it. I was put here to be here, to do what I'm doing right now. Once I see somebody moving, it's the greatest joy for me. There's a little person being born.
I am thankful that people have given me the trust, for me to empower them, from my players to my family to friends. And that's what I'm thankful for. I'm thankful that people have allowed me and trusted me to be in their life.
And welcome back. Well, gentlemen, as we looked at the results from last week, we said Robin Hood versus Hamilton Parish. All four of us took Hamilton Parish, and Parish won that 2-1. Then it was the Saturday match, Somerset Trojans and the Boulevard Blazers. We all took Somerset Trojans. It's the Somerset Trojans winning that 3-2. Dendy Town versus PHC. Maceo and myself took PHC. Punchy took Dandy Town, and Coach Keita took a draw with Maceo and myself picking up a 3rd point. Then it was Crossroads and St. George's. We all took St. George's, and they won 3-1. And then the final Premier Division match, Devonshire Cougars and North Village. Myself, Punchy, and Coach Keita took North Village. Maceo took a draw. So Maceo got all 5 games right in the Premier Division. In the First Division, BAA defeated Paget 2-1. We all took Paget. Then it was Wolves and Somerset Eagles. We all took Wolves. Wolves winning that 2-0. St. David's versus Southampton Rangers. We all took Southampton Rangers, and they won that 4-0. And then Social Club and Devonshire Colts. Myself, Punchy, and Maceo all took Social Club. Coach Keita took Devonshire Colts, and Devonshire Colts won that 1-0. So at the end of the day, it was myself getting 6, Punchy got 5, Maceo got 7, and Coach Keita got 6. So the totals right now, Coach Keita's on 46, Maceo, you're on 47, Punchy, you're on 48, and I'm on 49. So it's all tight at the top. May it long continue. But we have a whole host of matches this week, starting tomorrow night in the Friendship. Punchy, you're going to be up first. It's Robin Hood versus Somerset Trojans.
Well, I'm Somerset. I'm going to take Somerset to win this. This is a cup game, right?
Yes, Friendship
Yeah.
Trophy. Yes.
And the game is all at BA. Am I correct?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, I'm taking Somerset to win this.
Okay. Maceo?
Yeah, definitely Somerset.
Okay. And I have taken Somerset Trojans as well. On Wednesday night, it is another Friendship preliminary match. And it's Crossroads versus Devonshire Cougars. Maceo.
Devonshire Cougars will win that. I'll take that.
Okay. I'm going to take Cougars as well. Punchy?
I'm going to take Cougars to win this. Yeah.
Okay. And then we jump to league play on Thursday night. So it's games Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. And in the first match in the Premier Division for the week, Boulevard Blazers will entertain PHC Zebras at BAA Field. And I'm going to take PHC. Punchy?
The way PHC is doing it now, they're going to cross this line. I think they're going to get on another 3 points. I'm going to PHC on this also.
Okay.
You said that's Thursday night, not Friday.
Thursday night.
Yeah,
Thursday
PHC.
night.
PHC, I'm taking PHC on that.
And then on Saturday at the Wellington Oval, Hamilton Parish take on Dandy Town Hornets. Punchy.
That's an interesting one.
Wow. Yeah. That's this is I'm gonna go with Parish on this, man. I just don't think I'm gonna go with Parish on. I'm gonna come to Parish on this one. Yeah.
Okay. Maceo?
Yeah, I'm going to take Hamilton Parish as well. Dennington, and the reason I'm going to take them because Dennington's going to give you opportunities. They're going to look to play, and I right now when teams look to play, Parish is a better playing football team than Dennington at this point in time. So
Right.
I'm going to take Hamilton Parish.
Yeah, that makes 3 of us. I think with the issue with Dandytown goalkeeping problems and the morale right now, I think Hamilton Parish will be able to put enough together to come away with a victory. So I'm going to take Hamilton Parish. Sunday, Maceo, you're up first. North Village Rams take on the St. George's Colts at Bernard Park.
Well, this is St. George's test. I'll be definitely at that game because I want to see if St. George's can test itself against a football club. Also, this is North Village test. This is not a good time for Jalen Harvey to not be available. It's not a good time for Jalen Harvey to be available. And I think with the introduction of Juande Bascom and St. George's set the team out, I think St. George's is got the advantage right now. And as a result, I'm gonna pick St. George's to win this match. They're gonna get up for this match. I'm gonna pick St. George's to win this match against North Village.
Yeah, I agree with you a bit, but I think North Village have enough in their pocket. I think they'll be up for it as well because right now they're gonna want to stay as league leaders. So I'm gonna put this down as a draw because I think you're right. St. George's will be up for it, but I think North Village and Kenny will devise a plan that will keep them so compact that it kind of keeps St. George's at bay. So I'm going to take a draw. Punchy.
Well, this is a good one. It comes down to coaching, and it comes down to on that day. St. George is packing a punch with what they have, and I also thought the size of the pitch might suit them in terms of the quickness. Again, added with Durande, a Bascom playing from also an added incentive. All roads are pointed to North Village, Bernard Park on Sunday afternoon at 3 o'clock. We're gonna get a real a chance to see John Tate. Hopefully, he's gonna be playing up against what we got is a fierce attacking team against a very good defensive team, organized. But on the day, I think I'm gonna go with a draw. I'm gonna go with a draw.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. In a matter of 5 days, Crossroads will take on the Somerset Trojans again, this time at Lord's. I'm going to take the Trojans yet again. Punchy?
Yeah, I still think I think that Morty's creeping out of that. Yeah, that I think I'm going to do Summerson on this one also. Morty Sums is just gonna his organization. I think he will. And those are teams, as I said, we talk like the Summers are beating Boulevard. I'm putting it on Summers is going to beat Axe Crossroads on this one also.
Sure. Maceo?
Yeah, Somerset for me. Yeah.
And then the late game on Sunday at 6 p.m. out at BAA Field. Robin Hood take on Devonshire Cougars. Punchy.
Cougars. I think Cougars. I'm going to put Cougars for this here, you guys, for sure.
Yeah. Maceo?
Definitely Cougars.
Yeah, and I've already typed in Cougars. Now, in the Shield tomorrow night, the opener, it's a rematch. BAA take on the Paget Lions. Maceo.
Yeah, it's interesting.
That's a woo.
You know, can they get it right? Can Paget get it right a second time around? You know what? I think not. I think they can get it right, and I think it's been, and they're not had enough time to get it right? I think it's been proven that Paget could be outcoached. And, Andrew would want to make sure it's not a fluke. I think it's been proven that Paget could be outcoached. And Drew can outcoach the best of them, right? And he'll be motivated by every new coach. I mean, I can remember when Drew's son had a team and on the 13 team, and his son was talking about, okay, he's going to beat the game, and I bet on his son to beat the game. I bet on Durande to beat the game. And he ain't going to let you just have it. And he beat you one day 1-0, right?
Right.
So I'm in this circumstance, I'm picking BA. I thought Paget could bully him, but that didn't happen.
I think opposite. I think Paget won't come in to try to bully them off the ball now. Paget's going to use their experience, the experienced players that they have in the team, and that's what's going to win Paget this particular match. They won't try to do what they done the last time they played BAA. I think Antoine Russell will play a little higher. Dion Stubble will be on his game. They'll have that bit in their mouth and won't underestimate a BAA outfit like they did the last time. So I'm going to take Paget. Punchy?
Will they come again? Will they pull off a surprise? I think I'm going to take Paget on this also. I think, it's a night game, got the first one's up before the other game, right? So they're going to want to put on a good show.
Yeah.
They're going to want to put on a good show. I'm going to go with Paget on this one here.
Okay. All right. Then on Saturday night, BAA take on Devonshire Colton. This is in league play. I will take BAA on this one. I think, despite Devonshire Colton's organization, I think BAA will be able to break them down in many ways and come away with a victory. Maceo? I'm sorry, Punchy. I'm sorry, Punchy. Sorry.
I'm on you. I'm on you with that. I think again the BA will show up on that night. I think I'm picking BA to win this also.
Sure.
Yeah, it's a quick turnaround for him, but yeah, I think this is another game that BA will be up for. Yeah, so I'm picking BA as well.
Sure. Now, Punchy, you're first up because on Sunday at Southampton Oval, Paget Lions take on Wolves.
Oh, wow. Nope. I'm gonna go with the Yellow and Blacks on this one here.
Okay.
They're proving the point. They're all set to prove a point. I'm on your side tonight, guys. Yeah. Don't prove me wrong now. But I think they're getting it. I think they're slowly getting what we're talking about. Putting the pieces together correctly. I'm gonna pick Wolves to win this one. There ain't gonna be no draw game there.
Okay.
This is Wolves to beat Paget up in something. Yeah.
Sure. Maceo?
Yeah, this is where Paget will bounce back. They'll bounce back, and Wolves would show their ugly fangs again. So I'm picking Paget on this one.
Yeah, and I'm gonna go with Paget as well on this one. They'll edge it out. Yeah, I think they'll edge it out. Next match, Social Club take on Somerset Eagles. Maceo.
Social Club will beat Somerset Eagles. Somerset Eagles has not got a game won yet, haven't they?
No.
Yeah.
No.
It's
I'm
not
going
up
to take
to
Social
start
Club
this
as
week.
well. Yeah, without a doubt, I'm going to take Social Club as well. Somerset Eagles going to have to prove a lot more than holding Wolves to a 2-0 victory, or 2-0 loss, whichever way you want to look at it, to prove something to me. Punchy, Social Club, Eagles.
Jeremy hasn't put that puzzle together yet. Social Club to win this.
Okay.
Social Club to win this, hands down.
Sure. And the final match, St. David's versus Ireland Rangers. I'm going to take Ireland Rangers because I think that despite their up and down season, I think they have a little more talent than St. David's right now. So I'm going to take Ireland Rangers.
Where's that game to?
At St. David's.
Oh, no, I'm taking St. David's.
Punchy?
That's it. One thing I was going to ask you too. Where's that game? I'm taking St. David's. Even though
By time Ireland Rangers gets out, St. David's
I think
tight.
Yeah, St. David's going to, St. David's going to, I'm picking St. David's to win this one.
Okay. And Maceo, you say St. David's as well?
Yeah, I'm taking St. David's.
Okay. All right. Well, we shall see. Very interesting. Well, last week we picked Scott Morton as the person of the week. This was the presentation earlier this week.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Ethan Phillip here for Goslin's Rum, and I'm here with Scott Morton, this week's Person of the Week. Scott Morton led his team, the Somerset Trojan, to the Dudley Eve title. So this is just in congratulations of that, and congratulations on your good coaches and all that. All right?
Thanks. All right, appreciate it. Cool.
And that was the presentation for Scott Morton. Now, this week, we always look back a week. We had 3 players who stood out. Kadeem Abraham for PHE scored a hat trick, helping PHE to defeat St. George's Colts 3-2. That was on the Saturday. On the Sunday, Dominique Hill from Southampton Rangers scored a hat trick, helping Rangers beat Somerset Eagles 7-4. And of course, Riley Robinson from BAA scored a hat trick to help BAA beat St. David's 3-0. We could all say the significance of Abraham's hat trick in the Premier Division, but we also want to acknowledge that there were others that were scoring goals as well. So, Punchy, let me ask you, who stands out for you?
I think I went saw that game. I think the Abraham guy for PHC. Yeah, that would be my player of the week. What I witnessed there. Yeah, some good clinical finishing. Yeah, I'll pick him as player of the week.
Okay.
But definitely, there's other hat tricks that are significant. But PAC playing a hot run in St. George's, and that was a pressure field game for a lot of different reasons, right? What St. George's have available, so that hat trick that he got is very significant. So that's my pick as well.
Sure. My sentiment as well. So we want to congratulate Kadeem Abraham on being voted the player of the week, and next week we will be picking the player of the month of the winners that we've selected already. So should be a very interesting conversation next week, talking about the player of the month. So, gentlemen, thank you very much. We'll be back. We'll actually we'll be on Sunday evening, 6 o'clock, with another edition of the Island Stats Football Show. Do enjoy the rest of your night.
Take care, fellas.
Okay.